Hi, I am Beth Bodenhammer, and this is my personal intro for EDL 853. A little bit about my professional background. I have a Bachelor's of Science and Education from Missouri State University, and I went on to get my Master's in Interdisciplinary Studies from Webster University, and I'm currently finishing my Master's Plus 60 with a non-degree endorsement in Building Leadership from Fort Hays University. My professional experience is pretty diverse. I have a K-9 certification with an endorsement in mathematics, and I have taught grades 2nd, 4th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Currently, I am a title math specialist at Westview Elementary, and with that title, I support teachers and students K through 5 with math education. I'm currently working in the Olathe School District, and this year I applied to what's called the LEAD Academy in our district, which is a program for aspiring administrators, and I was accepted, so I am a LEAD Academy cohort this year. Westview Elementary is a title school. It's a very diverse community and with lots of Hispanic families. We are actually a Mercury 7 redesigned school. We're one of two redesigned schools in Olathe. We are an 80% free and reduced lunch, and we are currently working on building social and emotional learning and building a healthier culture within our school. I actually recently applied and was accepted for a new position for the upcoming year, and that position is a district instructional coach where I will support teachers K through 12 with instructional practices and how to run effective PLCs. A little bit of personal information. I'm from St. Louis, but I currently live in Overland Park. I've been married 24 years and I have 3 kids. My hobbies are running, tennis, spending time with family, and friends. Inclusive culture and how we as school leaders can impact school culture. I think one of the main things that comes to mind is leading by example at all times. Making sure that we're holding ourselves to the same standard and high expectations that we would expect from not only our students, but our community members and our staff members. Providing positive professional learning opportunities for staff to learn about how to be inclusive and how to have empathy and show grace and just really be able to embrace the diverse culture within not only within our classrooms, but in our entire school. Helping to create opportunities for staff to build relationships with each other and with students is also an important thing. I think that the foundation of all positive cultures are when we stop and we really put a focus on building positive relationships with each other and make that a priority. And also setting high expectations for staff and making sure that we're modeling inclusive language and practices. What does inclusive culture look like? I like to say that a climate that focuses on what I call the 3 C's, and that is that every student wants to feel cared for, confident, and capable. Honestly, as adults, we all want the same thing. We want to feel like we have a voice, and that regardless of our background, experience, culture, or race, we are going to be embraced and listened to and valued as a member of a collaborative team. Our kids need the same thing, and they deserve that same support. Clear communication and respectful relationships. Staff and students who value differences and embrace diversity, and collaborative classrooms and work environments where all voices are valued. Advocating for our students. How do we support all learners and one another? One of the places that we can start is with effective PLCs with an emphasis on the MTSS process, making sure that we are supporting all of our kids and meeting their needs, and that everybody is aware not only of our regular education students, but also our special education students and how to support them within the classroom. Focusing on social and emotional learning to make sure that our kids' basic needs are met. I actually am right now working in a school where a lot of my kids are coming to school hungry or they're living below poverty, and they have a lot of basic needs that aren't met. And so until we can make sure those needs are met, we can't really expect these kids to have the academic gains that they're capable of. So making sure that we are getting those basic needs met. Celebrating and highlighting different cultures. In one of the buildings I worked at in my previous district, we kind of researched all the different cultures that were represented within our building, and we got flags from each one of those countries or nationalities, and we hung them in the hallways to celebrate. And it was just a beautiful tribute, and I really felt it brought our school community together. Having family communities where you have cross-grade level groups that meet either once a month, once a quarter, and they share and have that time to learn about each other and build those relationships. Having student leaders, educational symposiums. My school right now has what we call educational symposiums, and it's basically a time for staff members to come together, be social, get to know each other, and collaborate and share ideas. And always remembering that relationships and kids come first. Plans and strategies. How can we create an inclusive culture? Instilling a belief that all students can learn, regardless of their background or experiences, race, or any cultures or diversities. Professional development on special education guidelines to make sure that all staff members are trained and understand how to support students. Collaboration time for special education teachers with all staff. I think that's really important too, to make sure that classroom teachers, paras, have time to ask questions of special education teachers on understanding students' needs and how we can help support that. Really implementing staff celebrations and teamwork sessions. Classroom walkthroughs. In one of my previous buildings, we had one day a quarter where we were able to walk through each other's classrooms and watch each other teach. I think that is extremely powerful, not only for really supporting diversity among our teachers, but also being able to observe different classrooms and the diversity among our entire student population. Having effective BLTs, building leadership teams that you can go to as an administrator and, kind of have that top-down model where we need to be setting that example from a leadership standpoint of holding ourselves accountable for being inclusive and having a high level of integrity. And if we do that, that will help build that strong community. And then consistent building-wide policies. My current building works with, we kind of identified as a staff common character traits, and we celebrated them all year long by noticing them within our kids. Some of them were empathy, integrity, and accountability. And when we really put a focus on those character traits, inclusion and positive culture is easier to achieve. Changing negative assumptions. Kind of what I talked about earlier was walk the walk and talk the talk. If we're going to have high expectations for our staff when it comes to building positive culture and being inclusive, we have to make sure that we are knowledgeable ourselves and that we are setting that example at all times. Focusing on relationships, getting to know our staff members, getting to know our students, our families, our stakeholders, and people in our communities. And reflection. I think that oftentimes self-reflection is a piece that's missing. It helps us to adjust instruction based on student needs, but it also helps us to stop and say, what are we doing well? What do we need help with? And how can we improve? School improvement plan, or SIP is what we call it in our district. Every school has one, and making sure that everyone's aware of what our school improvement plan is and that we're working towards that vision and that common goal. And team building, making sure that we are instilling positive team building experiences that help to foster that inclusive culture. One of the administrators that I really respect in our district said to me one time that culture eats strategy for lunch. And it really resonated with me, because if we don't have an inclusive culture set up within our school systems or within our schools, we can have the most amazing strategies and policies in place, but without that positive culture, we won't be successful. So I think that's one of the things that we definitely need to focus on. I look forward to learning from all of you throughout this course and supporting one another. And I wish everybody luck.